Hi, welcome to my channel. This is the second video we're doing, and today we're going to be putting in some grill guards. So you may have seen this on YouTube or a lot of recommendations on how to best protect the radiator that's around here. You see there's some really large openings. Now my Corvette has only about 150 miles on it and nothing too extreme in terms of speed, so you can see the radiator is still in good shape, but it doesn't take much for little rocks and bugs and so forth to get into that radiator and really do some damage. So it's recommended that you put in a guard, and I'll show you how to do that. It's really easy. You'll find the guards for purchase online somewhere between $70 to $100, and today I'm going to show you how to do it for under 20. All right, so it's really easy, and I'll walk you through all the steps. Okay, here's everything you need for this project, which is not a lot. You're gonna need a pair of scissors and your favorite grocery bag paper. We're going to make a template out of it so you know exactly the shape. You're going to need a 7mm ratchet, a T15, this is the star-shaped one, T15. That one you're going to have to maybe order if you don't have one of those, and that can be just attached. I'm going to attach it to my drill, but you can put it onto a socket. I found a pair of gardening shears, works perfectly fine to trim what is the guard, and I ordered this on eBay, I think for $12. So this will be a great, it's solid enough, it's flexible, and all we have to do is cut up the template and slide it in. All right, so here we go. Okay, so first we have to remove the lower plate. Now I use ramps, which makes it very easy, but you really don't need to. There's enough clearance underneath for you to reach under and do this without the ramp, but it sure makes it a lot easier if you haven't. First, you remove all of these nuts along the bumper, and this will require your T15, little star-shaped one. And then what you want to do is remove the cover as well along the front. So there's also a few bolts here, along there, that will take off. All right, so there's several of them, but it's very easy. So unscrew those, and then we'll reach in after that. So I've released a few of the bolts along the bottom. Basically, you push back a little and pull down, and it should come out like this. And that gives you plenty of room to slide the things up into the grill. Next, what I did was I cut out a template, again using any sort of garbage bag, or a grocery bag or paper or whatever it is you have, something stiff enough that it kind of holds shape. And then I slide it underneath to see whether it's the right size or not. You want it to be a little bit bigger than the hole itself, because behind it there's a lot of room and a lot of margin for error, so make sure it's bigger than this vent rather than smaller, because you don't want to leave an unsightly gap. It looks like mine is about the right size, and then so just pull it back out, and then we'll get to the cutting. Okay, pretty straightforward. Just lay the template on top of the grill, use your trimmers, and start trimming away, and you should get a perfectly sized shape. Do the same thing on the other side. It's a mirror image, so you can just make 2 of these if you want, and put it in reverse. The only thing is there's a handle on the other side for the trunk, so I'll show you the slight difference. You'll have to cut a little bit of an opening here to make room for that handle. Okay, using my template, I've cut 2 exactly the same grills. Right, and again, the edging doesn't need to be perfect. Don't worry about that. There's a lot of margin of error when it comes to putting it in, because it will be behind the bumper. All right, just as long as it fits and it's big enough to cover that vent hole, you should be fine. And I'll also put in the description exactly how much of this you're going to need. Okay, for the right side grill, what you need to do is leave some room for the handle that pops up the front. The handle is about 4 inches wide, and it starts about 6 inches from the left edge. So if you measure 6.5 inches because of a little bit of overlap, behind the frame, and then have a 4-inch insertion with 1 inch, 1.5 inches deep. That should do it. That should leave you enough room for the handle, and then you can just slot that in and it should be perfect. So let's go ahead and I'm going to need 2 hands for this, but basically you hold this down. This is flexible, so you start sliding it in. You make really sure that you don't start ramming it against your grill, because you don't, or your radiator, you don't want to damage this, okay? So just be gentle, take your time, curve it a bit and slide it in, and then we'll just tie it to the front here with some ties at the end. Okay, so there it is. Again, I curved it, slid it in and up gently. My whole hand can go in there, so it's not a big deal at all. And then now all there is to do is a few black ties. You hook it around and you clip a few against this rail here, and it should hold up right against there, and it should be beautiful. Okay, all done. So I put several ties in, probably more than I needed to, just to make sure everything was secure. Several tips that will be very important, because this is probably the hardest part of it, is putting the ties in, believe it or not. I used 8-inch ties. You don't want to go much shorter than that, because it's very hard to get it in and around and back out if it's quite short. The other thing I would suggest in terms of a technique is a couple things. Make sure the rough part is inside the loop. Go down, and then just use your other hand and just a finger, slide it under the finger and then into one of the vent holes, and just keep pushing it forward, and it'll just loop right out, okay? And then you can just tie it around one. Okay, let me demonstrate the technique. This is kind of easy to show you instead of in the grill itself. So what you want is the 8-inch tie. You go down, and then instead of trying to grab it, which is very hard to do with your hand inside the grill, just use a finger, push it up against the frame, and it should go right through like that. That's the easiest way I found, rather than trying to grab it. That's very difficult, and then to try to weave it through. So just use your finger, press it up against the side, and twist it right into the next hole, and you should get your tie. Okay, so I've inserted in the right side, and I've put 4 ties, 1 on each corner. All there left is to do is to just snip these off, make sure they're nice and tight, and I'll finish those 4 and we're all done. Then just screw these back in and it's all done. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and subscribe to the channel. There'll be plenty more videos to come in terms of how to modify your Corvette for under $20. I've also left some details specifically of the tips that we reviewed in this video in the comments below. Thanks for watching.